Today, I'm going to be laying out my perfect offseason plan for the Washington Commanders after the conclusion of the 2025 NFL Draft. Even though the draft is come and gone here, guys, I still think there are moves that the Washington Commanders can make here, and I'm going to lay out 4 of them in front of you on today's show that I think can make this team better heading into the 2025 season. Before we get into the content today, let me know where you guys are at in terms of how you feel about Adam Peters' offseason as the GM of the Washington Commanders is going, at least so far. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F to grade the job of Adam Peters so far this offseason. So first, we'll make our big splash here, which is to trade for star edge rusher Trey Hendrickson. Now, there was a lot of rumors that the Commanders could potentially trade for Hendrickson before the NFL Draft or even during the NFL Draft. Obviously, that hasn't come to pass, but Hendrickson and the Bengals are still very much at odds with each other right now. It seems like Hendrickson is asking for an amount of money that the Cincinnati Bengals simply just feel like they cannot afford. So I do think that a trade at some point during the offseason is more than possible. But there's a little bit of an issue here, okay? With the Washington Commanders, they have very limited draft picks for next year's NFL Draft, and that is going to be really the main thing that the Cincinnati Bengals are looking for in terms of the compensation they get back for Hendrickson. But the Commanders only have a first-round pick, a third-round pick, and then picks in rounds 5 through 7. No second-rounder, no fourth-rounder. So if you give up your third-rounder, then you don't have any picks in rounds 2, 3, or 4, which puts you in a really difficult situation. So here is my proposed trade idea here, where you still have the same amount of picks heading into next year's draft than what you have right now, but you're just downgrading that first-round pick into a second-round pick. So essentially, the way that it works is that the Commanders get Trey Hendrickson, and in exchange for that, they have to move down from a first-round pick next year to a second-round pick, and the Bengals get that first-round selection, so they upgrade from that second-round pick, and they get 2 of those first-rounders for next year. Then they get a fourth-round pick in 2027, and then they also get a starting-level player in Dorrance Armstrong, right now the current number 1 edge rusher for the Washington Commanders. I think for both sides this works because for the Commanders, you are getting Trey Hendrickson, a star-level edge rusher, to be your number 1 guy, plus you still have the same amount of draft picks that you had going into the trade. And if you're the Bengals, you have 2 first-round draft picks at your disposal to build your roster with. You also get a fourth-rounder in 2027, and hey, you still have a starting-level edge to pair with first-round pick this year, Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. So I think for both sides, this works out quite nicely. And then, of course, with the Commanders trading for Trey Hendrickson, they also have to pay him. And I'm going to pay him $36 million per season, so I'm not going to give him the Myles Garrett contract. But based on Trey Hendrickson and what he's been saying to the media, he's not looking for Myles Garrett money, guys. He's just looking to, get around what Danielle Hunter got, which was around $35.6 million. Here I'm just going to give him a real flat number, $36 million per season. So over a 3-year stretch, that's $108 million total to be this team's number 1 edge rusher and really be the big-time addition in the defensive trenches that the Washington Commanders have been waiting for. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Would you accept this trade if you were the Washington Commanders? Would you give up your first-round pick and downgrade it to a second-round pick along with a fourth-round pick in 2027 and Dorrance Armstrong to get Trey Hendrickson to be your number 1 edge rusher heading into the 2025 campaign? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section for today's pinned question. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. I'm going to let you know about our friends at Fanatics in just a second here as well. Well, I'm telling you about Fanatics today. Go down there in the pinned comment and give me a yes or a no to answer today's pinned question. And with that, let's have word from our sponsor here at Fanatics. And if you guys don't have a Jaden Daniels jersey yet, I mean, what are we doing here, man? This guy is going to be a Commanders legend for life. This is going to be a jersey that you can wear for the next 30, 40, 50 years, and it's still going to be relevant, all right? So go to chatsports.com/Daniels. That is our special link that we have down in the comments and description of today's show. If you click that link and you make a purchase, Fanatics sends us here at the Commanders Report part of the proceeds, and that helps us pay rent. That helps us keep the lights on here. That helps us, do all the different promotions that we do here on the channel to keep this content free for you guys. So if you want to help out the channel, you appreciate the things that we do for you guys, giving you free in-depth Commanders content every day, and you also want to get a Jaden Daniels jersey for yourself, go to chatsports.com/Daniels and make a purchase. Okay, so now we get into free agency, where I'm going to have them sign 2 players that I think can help contribute on defense day one, and that is Rayshawn Jenkins. We're going to start with him, who is a very big, strong safety type, and this is something that, Dan Quinn usually likes to have in his defense, and right now they don't really have one of these guys, but you can see when he was coming out of Miami in 2017, excellent relative athletic score with the size and speed combination, and he still possesses that at this point in his NFL career. And I think that he can be your hybrid linebacker type of box safety, somebody that's in the box on early downs. Obviously, the Commanders like to play a lot of single high safety coverages, which with a strong safety in the box. I don't know if Will Harris, who is just over 200 pounds, is necessarily going to be able to play that role at the level that Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. requires, but I do think that Rayshawn Jenkins can play that role quite effectively from day one. And, Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr., they like to go to 3 safety packages. And, I know you got Quan Martin, and I know you got Will Harris, and I do expect those guys to be contributors on this defense. You are kind of missing that 3rd safety that Dan Quinn likes to use, that bandit safety, somebody that can be like a hybrid linebacker. Jeremy Chin played that role beautifully for this defense last year. You haven't really replaced that so far this offseason. And, I think that if you have Quan Martin, Rayshawn Jenkins, and Will Harris, I think that those are 3 players that the Washington Commanders would be really excited to see how they play together on the field at the same time. So just knowing how this defense is usually structured, I think Rayshawn Jenkins, who is 220 pounds, as a true strong safety, would be the perfect final addition to this secondary. And then the contract I'm going to give Rayshawn here in my perfect offseason plan is the vet minimum. At this point in the offseason, you can get players for the vet minimum, okay? And right now, for a player that's been in the league for 8 years, like Rayshawn Jenkins has, the vet minimum is a 1-year deal worth $1.255 million. Then I'm going to sign another player here to be a rotational piece in the middle of the Commanders defense, and that's Shaq Thompson, who has been a starting level linebacker in this league for a very long time, but he hasn't been signed to an NFL team yet, and I think that he could be a great rotational 3rd off-ball linebacker for the Washington Commanders. Now, PFF grading is not gospel, but this is, I think, a good illustration of just how good Shaq Thompson has been throughout the course of his NFL career. He's been a team captain with the Carolina Panthers, and even just last year with Carolina in 2024. A 67.7 grade, even though it's not as high as some of his previous seasons, is still very much starter quality grading from Pro Football Focus on Shaq Thompson. So even though he's getting older at a position where athleticism is really a premium, I do think that Shaq can provide really solid off-ball linebacker depth as a rotational piece behind both Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner. Behind those guys right now, you got guys like Dominique Hampton, Jordan McGee, Kai Madrano, their 6th-round pick this year. I don't know if I necessarily trust any of those guys to be a true 3rd rotational off-ball linebacker. And hey, if Frankie or Bobby gets hurt, like, who are you putting in there as a full-time starter in this group if you have an injury? Right now, I think that's very much in question. I think the Commanders like Dominique Hampton, and I'm really excited to see how he progresses into the 2nd year of his NFL career, because he's an athletic freak. But if you get a guy like Shaq Thompson, you can trust him a little bit more to take kind of those snaps right away. And then, hey, if one of these younger guys, Madrano, McGee, Hampton, these guys that are really athletically gifted, show you the proper development in the offseason, then you can potentially interject those guys into the rotation moving forward. And in terms of the contract, once again, guys, at this point in the offseason, you can get guys for the vet minimum. And because Thompson's been in the league even longer than Rayshawn Jenkins has had, you still have that same veteran minimum at 1 year, $1.255 million. Now, I still got one more move that I want to make on my perfect offseason plan here, post-NFL draft. But before I get into that, if you're enjoying today's content and you want more of this type of content on this channel, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already and like today's show. It really does help out the YouTube algorithm, guys. It puts this video in front of more Commanders fans out there on the YouTube platform, so I greatly appreciate it. It's the easiest way to help us out today is to click that thumbs up icon, so make sure you do that for me today. And then my final move here is to extend wide receiver Scary Terry McLaurin. He deserves it, even though, he's getting close to that 30-year-old mark here. I still think he's playing at a super high level. He is the bona fide alpha number one receiver for Jaden Daniels in this offense, and I think you want to lock him up for the rest of Jaden Daniels' rookie contract here while you can still afford to pay a guy this much money. And, for me, I'm going to pay him within the top 4 of wide receivers in the National Football League. I think that he's deserved it. He's shown a lot of loyalty to this organization, and the only receivers in the game that would be making more money per season with this new contract, guys, are Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and CeeDee Lamb. All right, and it puts him right around the same area as DK Metcalf, who I think Terry McLaurin is right around the same tier as. I think that this is a good contract for both team and player, and I think he's going to be absolutely worth every penny. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. What do you want to see Adam Peters do before the season begins? What's a move that you want to see Adam Peters make before the start of the 2025 season? If I could just pick one move, guys, I would pick that trade that we did at the top of today's show for Trey Hendrickson to get yourself a true bona fide number one alpha edge rusher to add to this defense. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. And then after you let me know what move you would like to see Adam Peters make, go ahead and let me know you made it to the end of today's show by typing real one down there in the comments section. Only the real ones make it to the end of these videos every single day, guys. So if you're one of those, identify yourselves down there in the comments section so we can give you some love. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of today's show. We got more Commanders content coming your way. Producer Joey and I, we're going to be going live tomorrow on Commanders Report Live, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you don't want to miss any of that action and all that content we're going to be doing tomorrow, click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, hail to the Commanders.